All right, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video. It's taking a little while to get back here given all the marathon craziness. A lot of Destiny players were wondering when Bungie would get back to talking about Destiny given, all this marathon reveal stuff, and it turns out they were fine with just saying something right afterwards. Yesterday, I'm recording this on Wednesday, they revealed Destiny 2 The Edge of Fate. Keep wanting to say The Edge of Eternity, and that is a different thing. This is the beginning of Frontiers and the name of the codename Apollo expansion that we've been, that's been referenced for a long time now. The next one is Behemoth. We don't know what that is yet. To recap here, the plan for year one of Frontiers is 2 shorter expansions. So they're stretching 6 months. We don't exactly know how content delivery is going to work there. It seems very unlikely they're going to just, they pretty much said they're not going to stack like a huge linear campaign right at the start. I don't know if it's this one or whatever, but they said something about, going in different directions and exploring the story in different ways, and then maybe some roguelike elements and other things. And we just got roguelike stuff in Nether, so maybe that's what they were referring to a long time ago. And then we're going to have 4 major updates, which I don't think contain necessarily story stuff. They did say new activities and new weapons, and they're doing this thing with like featured playlists based around, using those weapons and things like that. So it's changing into something we don't fully understand. And then all of this is coming with a new weapon and armor system as well. So we have the first true reveal other than just like concept art of Frontiers. And the actual reveal event is going to be in 3 weeks-ish on May 6th at reset time, pretty much, or right before. And all we have is this image. The image is, I have it up on screen. It's pretty much, it could be an eclipse or something there. And then the 9 font, and then the Trials of Osiris circles behind that. That is the exact Trials ones. I don't imagine that has any special significance. There are some little symbols here and there on the page. There's some debate about whether this is an actual puzzle or something to be solved. I have not seen anything really specific to say that. I know Mr. Raffle Waffles, our new Destiny community member who's all about solving things, is working on it, but I'm not 100% sure there's anything there. The big thing is that this is a 9 focused expansion, which I can't say I was expecting. I know some people read story leaks a long time ago and, whatever. Like that's, I really try to go out of my way to avoid stuff. Like, yes, I have Bungie contacts, but I'm not asking them for story things. Like I'm talking more about like the business and marathon and like, things like that. So have not gone out of my way to read those. Please don't post them in the comments. So I was surprised to see that this is a 9 focused expansion. I wrote about this today. It's like there's a long list of stuff that we've had to do with the 9 who still almost, largely remains a total mystery in terms of like kind of who they are, what they want. They're kind of just like swooping in to, mess with us every so often. This has ranged from, Xur is like the oldest 9 contact where he just, relentlessly serves the 9. We've had stuff like Season of the Drifter, which did get into a little 9 story, but that was an era where there was barely any story in Seasons at all. There was Prophecy, the 9 Dungeon, which was essentially the whole thing was a prediction of what was going to happen with the pyramids and Beyond Light, so they can see the future in some capacity. We know that much. And then there was Dares of Eternity, where I guess the 9 also just think they're funny and had Xur host a game show for us hosted by a magic horse, Star Horse. So that was a little different. But now I guess we're probably getting more serious with this. The most interesting thing to note is that this is going to come right on the back of Rite of the 9, which is the new upcoming dungeon event that they're doing, which is a range from like, here's how to do all the dungeons with like tips and hints for new dungeon players to like normal dungeons to like contest mode dungeons. And all of this is going to involve kind of reprised loot that is 9 themed. I don't we haven't really gotten an indication that there's like a big story component to this. Like you pick up the weapons in the little 9 zone. I think the emissary's there, if I recall. But I mean, this seems like too much of a coincidence to have a 9-based event right before what we now know is a 9-based expansion. So I would expect that to be some sort of a bridge into whatever's going to happen with Apollo / the Edge of Fate here. The question, this is going in a different direction apparently than what I thought, is I figured, we were going to end Heresy and be like, look, we got this giant dreadnought that can move through different solar systems. So let's just take this and go somewhere. And Bungie has promised that we're going to leave our solar system in Frontiers. Are we going to leave right away? Are we going to, peace out now? Or is the 9 thing something, inside our current zone? Like, if, maybe this is leaked, but I don't know. And I guess we'll find out. But, I'd like to leave the system. That was promised, and I'd like to go to like a totally new, space. But if this is a 9 expansion, it's going to be more, I think, than just, here's another patch of, Earth. Like, here's the other half of Mars, you know what I mean? So hopefully it's, more than that. Again, we're not expecting something. I don't, it's going to be between like an episode and a normal expansion. I would say probably 65% of the way, 2/3 toward the size of a normal expansion. So we're not getting, the final shape, the Witch Queen, Lightfall, size stuff. We already know that with the campaign, but I think my main question here is how story cadence is going to be doled out from here. I have to imagine, given that these are going to last 6 months with only these major updates in between them, that they're going to have to space out story to some degree. There's a lot of open questions about how that's going to work. So I'm certainly curious to see how this is going to go. The 9 have been one of Destiny's biggest mysteries, and it seems like they pop up every so often to do some special event or something, but this should be the first time we have like a really large focus on them. The only kind of full season or something we've had with them, a Season of the Drifter, which was one of the most content bare seasons we've ever had. So that's not exactly what we're about to see here with a full-on expansion for the 9. Will we learn actual concrete things about them? It seems like if there was ever a time to actually do this, it would be now. I have a feeling that Bungie did not originally know what the 9 were even supposed to be. This reminds me of like the Darkness, when they were just talking about the Darkness and they hadn't figured out what the Darkness was when they invented it. The 9 is really old at this point. We've been talking about the 9 forever now. So I'm guessing when the 9 was created, there was no like super concrete plan or idea of what they were. So I'm hoping to find out, something really, actually full of knowledge about where this is going to go, what the 9 will have to do with Frontiers and this whole new era of Destiny, given that they are the ones kicking off this era of Destiny. And maybe they're the ones who take us to other solar systems and they use their magic 9 portals to transport us places, and who knows. So I'm excited. I'm always excited about any new Destiny thing with the ups and downs of the game. And this is, we're heading into a year that is going to be less content. Like, that is not a shock. We can talk about the balance of Marathon and Destiny, but Bungie is majority still working on Destiny in terms of its number of devs. But yeah, there's obviously going to be a ton to talk about with Marathon. The alpha starts in a week or something, and you can at least talk about it. So I don't know. I got to get a key for that. Anyway, so that's the Edge of Fate, not Eternity. We will learn more about this in 3 weeks, and obviously, maybe if they do any other teasers, I'll talk about them. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.